Hey, welcome back to Carla Prusa MMA. Today I'm with special guest, current UFC fighter, Mr. Mike Beast Boy Davis. He's taking on Natan Levy next weekend, UFC Apex Las Vegas. Mike, how are you doing, man? Thank you for joining me. And you excited to get back in action?
Um, yeah and no, yes and no. It's always great to go out there and, perform and the afterward feeling, excitement, hoorays, this, that. But the thought of going into the cage and fighting for your life is not something I'm excited for. I never am.
We haven't seen you fight last year. You were mentioning to me before that you had some surgeries you had to take care of last year. So a bit of a layoff. Anything that you can kind of try to do when you're taking some long, lengthy absence like that? Is there anything you can do to try to avoid ring rust?
Um, I mean, drill. If you're a person who embraces the skill set of MMA and you want to better yourself, drill. Learn new things while you are injured. If your legs are injured, like my knee, I had knee surgery. I was working my boxing. Just my hand placements, my little bag work, and then when I got my shoulders done, I was running. I was doing, I was experimenting. I was studying videos. I learned all through 2023? Yeah, 2023. I became a leg lock fanatic, bro. I'm just a leg lock guy. And
You mentioned on your Instagram one of these crazy workouts that you do, I think once a week during fight camp. I forgot the name of it, but it involves like 4 miles on the treadmill, like 10 miles on the bike, and like two
yeah, it's a
flights
big
of
one.
stairs. Yeah, what is that? And how the hell do you get through it?
It takes about 3 hours, and it's more of a mental thing because you gotta do it slow. If you try to like sprint through it, if you can sprint through it, my congrats, man. You're gonna win a fight. I can tell you that much. But it's meant to just build your mental endurance to handle what's gonna be thrown at you. And it's not the same thing over and over again, which is kind of like a fight. The fight's gonna be boxing, grappling, wrestling, and each time it switches, you need to be mentally prepared to outlast that situation. So it's the same kind of concept in how I've evolved to use it for MMA.
In your opinion, do you feel that fighting is more mental than it is physical?
A lot of it, yeah, 100%.
You're taking on a very tough guy, Natan Levy, who's another top prospect, top younger fighter, if you will. What do you think of him as an opponent?
I think he's good. I think he's a overall amazing fighter. He's been, he's shown his skill set throughout the years. He got into the UFC super early. I think he was like 4-0 or 5-0, and he's been doing great ever since. So, props to him and the fight. It's like everybody else. I went against Mason Jones 10-0. I went against Vyacheslav Borshev. He's a world champion kickboxer. I doubt this kid has better striking than that. So, I mean, what more can you do? Mason Jones, been wrestling since 5, BJJ black belt. Come on. I beat them both. Fought Gilbert Burns. I'm not afraid of anybody.
What part of your game do you think is going to help you find success over him?
I just think I'm overall I'm bigger. I've not been the smaller fighter against anybody. I was even bigger than Gilbert Burns, uh, stature wise. Um, then when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to BJJ, when it comes to striking, I just feel like I've been superior in these martial arts since the beginning. I don't think I've ever come encounters with somebody I couldn't handle.
You get a fight over in Las Vegas in the Apex. How do you enjoy fighting in that type of environment? Do you enjoy fighting without the crowd? Does it really matter to you?
It's nice to fight without the crowd because uh it's kind of like it's warfare, so being able to hear your enemy's strategies live, like I can hear his corner. I can hear every single thing they're saying. So in order to be able to hear that makes me able to react, uh makes me able to adapt in order to, overcome what they're planning. Also, it feels like sparring when you fight there. when you fight in a crowd, it feels like an event. It feels like an arena. It feels, weighs heavy on your soul. There's the lights. There's so many lights. There's cameras everywhere. Then it's, you get fatigue from every single thing. It's not just fatigue from being physical. You get light fatigue, emotional fatigue, stress, all that stuff. So fighting in the apex is kind of a quick little walk out to your home gym cage, spar, and go home. That's what it feels like.
And
Hard sparring.
the communication element of things, obviously finding the apex, does that make it a lot easier to hear your judges and communicate, or hear your coaches rather, and communicate with them
Yeah,
mid-fight?
100%. You can't. I mean, you get tunnel vision when you fight, and sometimes you don't even remember how the fight looks. You can try and envision it all you want, but you can't remember how the fight even looks. So when you're in the cage in the apex, it's more clear. Like, I can see them in the corner sometimes when I pass. If we're fighting and next to them, I can look over, I can see them, I can hear them clearly. So it definitely makes a big difference.
When I was over at your gym a couple of months ago in January, I was talking with Coach Julian Williams, and he mentioned to me that he was there with you since the beginning. He said he recalled that when you first joined, he was throwing you around in practice, and now he can't really keep up with you. What has it been like to, one, start off with a guy like him, start off at Fusion Excel, and grow with those boys?
Uh, Amazing. I never thought I'd be able to beat Julian. I always thought he would always just be that step above. And it wasn't until last year when I started, studying and learning more about martial arts when I was able to, get dominant positions on him and threaten him and out wrestle him. And now it's just like tit for tat.
I just saw you a couple days ago, actually, in Orlando for the Game Bred Bare Knuckle event. Overall, what did you think of it? What do you think of this crazy concept, MMA with no gloves on?
Um, I personally don't like the no glove MMA. I just feel like right now I break my hands already when I fight, even with gloves and wraps. So I couldn't imagine just my bare hands punching something. They're bound to break. I feel like everyone who fights there goes home with pillow hands. So I'm not a big fan of it, but it's exciting to watch. It's interesting how people adapt to fighting without gloves on. And the arena, they had the biggest arena in Orlando at the Kia Center, and that shows you the progression that Gamebred FC has gone through. Now they're UFC caliber. They legit felt like a UFC event, and there are a lot of people there.
Being in that arena, did it ever spark your mind? Maybe one day I'll be fighting here in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it at the time, but I mean, it makes sense if they come back to Orlando. I know they like to do Miami cards, so flying going down to Miami isn't a bad trip at all. But if they were to come back to Orlando, I'd sure try and get on that card.
Speaking of Miami, a guy that you mentioned a little earlier in the interview, Gilbert Burns, he's fighting this weekend, taking
Yeah.
on Jack Della Maddalena. Crazy fight. He's an underdog on there. Some people are a little questionable about that, but it's kind of like the new kid versus the teacher, kind of in this one. What are your thoughts? Who are you thinking is going to win this one?
I always like to root for Gilbert Burns. He's pretty durable. Um, on the rare occasions he has off nights where his chin is a little, it's not on par with the timing, but most times he can take a punch and he mixes it up very well. So he did state that he's coming off a loss and this is going to be redemption.
In addition to fighting, you also have a skill set outside of the octagon. You're very good with your video creation. You're a very good video maker. You've told me before that you've done a lot in that world as well. Do you think it is important as a fighter to be able to also have a career in something else that is not fighting?
Yeah. If you focus everything on fighting, then when the time comes where you can't fight anymore, if you haven't established anything else, then you are stuck and you're going to be um not I'm not bashing anybody, but there are the people out there that got kicked out of the UFC and now they go and try and fight for such and such promotion and they're making a fraction of what they were making in the UFC, even just starting in the UFC. And then they're thinking that's going to provide for their family and that's going to keep them afloat, but it's not. It's $2,000, $5,000, even $10,000 is not going to keep you afloat fighting once every 3 months, 4 months.
You know, your story is really amazing. I mean, we've talked about it before on this podcast, on this show, about how mixed martial arts essentially saved your life. You know, you've mentioned that you like to talk to kids, you like to mentor them, you like to try to steer them on that right path. What are some things you like to tell guys, fighters who are just breaking in to the scene?
Is it into the UFC or just into martial
Yeah,
arts?
no, just starting to get into the platform, getting into the fight game.
Um, it starts off rough. You're always, you're always the punching bag for at least a year. Just give it at least a year. Uh, the best way to love the sport is to get engulfed in it. So find people at the gym that you bond with things that are outside. Like if you guys like anime, find a group of people at the gym that like anime. That then you guys talk more and more. Then you guys start drilling as friends. Then you guys become really good friends. Now you're drilling outside of the gym, and you guys are getting great together. Now you're both blue belts, you're both purple belts, and that's where you find love for the sport. It's the friendship and family you build around it.
Now, if that same person were to be starting to compete in a professional environment, maybe the UFC, what are some advice that you would give in that situation?
Into the UFC? My God. Um, ah, it's a business at this point. This is your livelihood now. You make it to the UFC, you have an opportunity to do this for a living. You have the opportunity to make enough to sustain your family off of. Now it becomes a business. Now, I mean, I hate thinking of it as work, but when you start fight camp, it's work. You day in, day out. You're working. You got to show up early, leave late every day, and make it count.
With a win over Natan, do you think you're getting close to a top 15 opponent?
I'm pretty sure they offered me a top 15 back in like December, but uh, it wasn't even December of this year. It was December of 2022. But I had to get surgery, so I got my surgeries healed up, and now this is the opponent they gave me back. And it's a good opponent for my stature. What's happening in my life right now? Three fight win streak. Really good opponents. No slouches at all. All tough. All three decisions. Well, I finished one, but it was 14 seconds away from a decision. So they're all really tough. And now I have one more kid that's just known for decisions. So I feel like this will be another tough one.
When you're on a win streak such as this one, what is the mentality like? I mean, is there pressure to keep it going? Do you just feel like you're in a flow state where whatever you do is just going to be gold?
No, there's definitely pressure, and the way I overcome it is to not think about what happens if I win the fight. I think about the moment. Every second, every step that I take is what I'm focused on. My brain will not go ahead and it will not go behind. So walking out to the fight, that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on every step leading into the octagon. When the fight's happening, I'm focused on every situation. If I get taken down, my focus right then and there is how do I get up? How do I take no damage? When I get up, it's reset. We're back on the feet. How do I attack? How do I defend? How do I this, that? And it's always in that very moment. So when the fight's over and they raise your hand, you won, then you get to start like, wow, okay, now some things are about to start coming. But even then, you still can't predict what's gonna happen. It's just I live in the moment. Just today. Today's what mattered.
Do you have any rituals or ways to stay calm and relaxed during fight week?
Yeah, I don't think about it at all. I find things to do every day, all day long. I will never just sit in my room and think about what I can do or what the fight's gonna happen or anything like that. Last fight, I had a friend come in with his PlayStation. We played video games. We went out. We took a walk. We took like a 5-hour, 6-hour walk around Vegas and got smoothies and just hung out, went through the shopping, stayed busy. Media day was quick, easy, got through there and just hanging out.
Are you still doing a lot of the Twitch stuff? I know that you also do some
Mhm.
streaming on Millions. How are you joining those platforms?
Right now, me and Millions are kind of on a break, but I am still streaming. I'm streaming every day of March. I haven't missed a day, I don't believe. And after this, I'm gonna go try and do some stairs or something when jump on my stream there. But it'll probably be this one will probably be on TikTok. I won't go live on everything else. When I get back, if it's not late, I'll jump on. But yeah, man, I stream every day.
All right, Mike. In a perfect world, what do you want to go down next Saturday when you take on Natan Levy?
A lot of people are telling me that this has fight of the night written all over it, and I don't like that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to envision it. I don't want it to become reality. So I believe I will get the finish in the first round. Um, he's not. He is susceptible to taking punches. He gets hit a lot, and he has given rocked a lot. I have not taken hard hits to the face. Broke my orbital mid fight, just kept fighting. So uh, we're different. We're very different. I'm a dog, and I'm going to show it next Saturday.
Well, Mike, thank you for talking to me today. I wish nothing but the best for you, my man.
I appreciate it.
That's Mike Davis. I'm Carlo Perusa. Stick around.